I feel like we need a name for this coffee and sit down and chat series over the weekend. I am taking any suggestions down below. But hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wolfpack. The past few days have been so eventful, so exciting, full of joy and all of the above positive emotions. The amount of feedback and reception from the Fire and Ice Awards have literally blown me the frick away. So we are all very, very thankful and excited to see everyone enjoying this epic award ceremony that we've been putting together all year. And it's just so satisfying to see everyone like literally have fun watching this awards. And I saw all the posts on Instagram and everyone watching the video and putting it on the big screen. It's just so freaking satisfying to see. So if you've seen the awards, thank you all so much. I'm so glad you're all enjoying it. If you haven't yet, make sure you see it because we're going to talk about the behind the scenes and breaking down a lot of what went into the awards, and also just some like behind the scenes fun stuff, like vlogging clips. So you'll see like everyone's choices by then. I don't want to like spoil the choices and stuff if you haven't seen it just yet. So make sure you see that award. I will link that here and down below. So make sure you see that before we dive into this behind the scenes. For this video, but aside from showing you some behind the scenes clips about what happened throughout the day, I'm always transparent on my channel, as you know. So I always like to talk about the good, the bad only with me, by the way. This is like more like the technical side and what I want to improve for next year as well. A lot of you have also been asking about like an editing breakdown, which can be its own beast of its video. If that's something you want to see and we get enough people asking about it, I'm more than happy to do it, but it is a very intensive one. That is definitely the most heavily edited video I've ever done till date. So I can definitely do that if that's something you want to see, but let me know if that's something that you want me to break down. Anyways, let's go and start off with the very first thing, which is a comparison of that janky whiteboard drawing to the actual venue. See, so it turned out like pretty spot on to what I was imagining, right? So we had that V arc with all of the light sticks. We had the table in the center, all the LED panels, that's what they actually look like. And the photo station we had in the back. So everything was pretty much set just like how that plan was. As bad as it looked like as a drawing and diagram, that's what I meant visually when you saw the awards in person, the awards venue in person. So some technical difficulties that we had with that. It was probably like a 10 out of 10 difficulty to film at that venue because the LED panels up top, I thought, this was also, by the way, this is all my mistake. I thought it would have been enough to light the whole venue with just the LED panels. And what we did is that there was a lighting technician there and he could adjust the lights so he could make it any color and have any section of the venue lit up or not lit up. And what I wanted was the center of the venue to be lit up and then everything else dark. That provided a lot of problems, as you might have seen in the footage too, because there's actually a lot of green in the background, and the R5, the cameras that I use, they have a lot of trouble dealing with low light. And I thought about that, but I thought I could fix it with 4K. We also didn't film anything at all that day in 4K because like when the camera shut off by themselves, when they do auto shut off, for some reason, they just like went back to like a normal setting. And my head was like all over the place that day. So I just slipped that. I didn't fully check on that. So we ended up filming the entire thing in 1080, which was a huge bummer. And it also made color correcting in post a nightmare because the lights that we used up top, because we had the option to use like the lights that I always use for the studio. If I use my own studio lights to light up the table station, I think it would have turned out a lot better in terms of like the colors of everyone. The overall color grade ended up being very moody, very dramatic, which is what I wanted, but it definitely didn't reach like the standard that I had hoped to achieve for that. And that's because the lighting up top of the ceiling panels, they casted a weird magenta over everyone. So actually, here's a diagram of how it looked initially. So if you see here, this is what the colors started out with. This is raw, and then it's super purple, right? So then after I color corrected it and added in a camera LUT, which is pretty much, it converts your footage to like synchronize with whatever your camera brand is. So it goes from raw footage to this is what the Canon LUT is. Pretty much like don't ever use this word, by the way. I hate this word. Filter, but that's the best way for everyone to understand. It's not a filter, okay? It's a color grade. It's totally different. So we put a color grade over it, the initial camera color grade, and then I played around with it a lot to get it to that point with the third panel, but it still looked really splotchy, really bad. And then finally, after a ton of research and a ton of learning, I realized that I can finally push it to look way more dreamier and actually cinematic, getting to that fourth panel. So all that to say, it was the impact of one decision. Do we turn on our light or do we turn off our light? And I chose the wrong decision, which is to turn off our light. Next time, we're definitely going to use our studio lights. And that kind of gets me thinking about it too. I feel like I want to go back to the Batcave. It actually was the Batcave, by the way. That's where they filmed Batman like gearing up and stuff. I want to go back because now I know what I can do and how to fix it, but I also don't want to take that risk again. And the second thing, there was a huge echo. And of course, being in a room with content creators, like everyone pointed that out, especially Naveen. And I didn't think about that until like they mentioned it. And it did make me worry, but on the day of, there's nothing I could do. I can't soundproof the area. I try to put a board behind like the camera to help like bounce the audio a little bit better and like think about putting stuff on the floor, but it wasn't really going to dampen the echo that much because the room was humongous. So the best that I could do is just to get the overhead microphone as close to them as possible, and that was literally the best thing. Next year though, I am going to fix that. I'm going to get a bigger C-stand because I also didn't realize how tall a lot of them are, like Nick, Mike, Naveen, they're all super tall. And you know, the C-stand that I use now is like kind of fit for me. So I definitely need to keep that in mind for next year, get a bigger C-stand so that way the audio is out of frame, the microphone's out of frame, and to also get everyone mic'd up. So I definitely need to get like the microphones that I use, I talk about with like my lapel, and you get that geared up for everyone for next year's. But those two things are like the major things that I need to fix for next year: using my own light and getting a better audio, like getting like a lapel mic or just the mic closer to everybody. But aside from that, a lot of the other stuff I was very, very happy with. And when we started out the day, what I wanted was to have everyone in a really, really good mood. Obviously, everyone's in like a super happy, excited mood because we're all seeing each other. It's, you know, just for us to be there and hang out with each other, that was more than enough. But to kind of add on to that spice, I wanted to get this charcuterie board, which was from a local, you know, small business. And I got this really, really fancy, delicious, super delicious charcuterie board that everyone loved. Everyone wants that same like setup for next year. So I definitely want to do that too, wherever we end up going, because that place was amazing. They provided us orange juice in a glass, like as a setup. I don't know, I thought that was fancy too, but there was like prosciutto and all these other fancy foods that I can't really name off the top of my head. So from there, people started trickling in. I started figuring out exactly how I wanted all the setup to be. So it was me, Josh, Nasir, Claire, and Jackie, all of us kind of setting up everything to the side. All the awards were pushed back to the end of the table. Like if you're looking at the main camera shot now, it was on the very, very other end. And so we would have every setup ready to go as each creator goes into a frame for their own segment. So then that was pretty much what Jackie was doing. She was getting the awards ready and getting the games ready. And then as soon as one creator's done, boom, we switch. And then we set up for the next one. Here's a little clip. Sorry, the audio is a little bit bad, but bear with me here. Hi everyone, we are finally here at the Fire and Ice Awards. I want to run you through the behind the scenes setup, so that way you can compare it to my whack-ass, janky-ass drawing that I did the other day and see how that compares. So here we have the main angle, right? So we still have this is true to the drawing. It was the Canon R3 locked off on a tripod. We're going straight shot here. This is our main angle. It's not going to move for the most of the day. And then we also have our main table shot up top. It's going to be our audio. We have one microphone. It's really echoing here, so it's going to be kind of hard, but hopefully this one will pick it up okay. And then we have our top-down camera shot. This is a 24 to 105, R and R5 going over here. So we did manage to make that work. We also have all of our lights set up in the back. They're all programmed for everyone's colors and for today's overall theme of fire and ice. And then we pan around to over here. This is our camera setup for our studio shot. I might move the panel a little bit just so we get the background of this. And then we're gonna shut off all the lights and get started. Also, the crew with me today, we got Claire as my second shooter. We got Nasir as my second shooter. We got my fiance back again today. And then we also have the cameraman himself. We're gonna record you. Nice. And then from there, as everyone started trickling in and everyone starts to be full from breakfast, I was thinking there has to be some kind of icebreaker. Not that we're not comfortable with each other, but more so that everyone just feels a lot easier on camera, a lot more comfortable on camera. That's the number one goal of any photographer, videographer in general, in like this media space. It's like you got to make people that you're filming comfortable. So to do that, I figured there's only one way we can do that, and that is to play a game that we can all enjoy together. And that was with Ready, Set, Bet. So Ready, Set, Bet not only was our intro for the trailer, but also was just a way to like ease the tension, because, you know, everyone I know like is great on camera. Trust me, they're a million times better than me. But when you have like camera after camera after camera after camera pointing at you, and you have lights, and you have all these people staring at you, it's a totally different feeling, especially with a lot of us. We're used to just, you know, filming on our own. But then when we're filming with a whole crowd of people with all these things pointing at you, it's a little nerve-wracking, yeah? And it was for me too, especially for someone being behind the camera. Like, you would assume that I would be okay on camera, but no, I like stuttered a million times. And you saw my bloopers too. I was like kind of freaking out, but not. So yeah, that's why we played Ready, Set, Bet with Bonds leading the way. She's like so good at just getting everyone hyped up and amped. That's why it was just a perfect fit for her to be teaching us and playing that game. It was funny though, as a side note, I was just telling my team this, but it was funny because as she was teaching us the game, we were all, you know, we learn games fast. Like we play and learn games practically almost every single day, right? So as board gamers, we learn them very quickly. And as she was teaching us, everyone was kind of like very quiet, very like kind of serious and absorbing all the information. And my team, like, they don't play games every day, right? They do love board games, but they don't play as often as we do. So off the camera, they're kind of very lost trying to follow like the rules and stuff. Not because like Bonds is a bad teacher, but just because like the nature of the game and stuff. So they were very confused. And then as soon as we started and we got going, my team was like so confused, but they were like laughing so hard because like they did not see the excitement of this game coming in, because, you know, Ready, Set, Bet's really, really fun. And I think the nature of the game, like, it's not a party game, but it just invites a lot of laughter and table talk. Very, very exciting emotions. So of course we were amped up, hyped up, and then as we were getting excited, my team was getting excited too, and then they were filming that. So here are a couple clips from Ready, Set, Bet.
I'm gonna flip these to the side here because I need to see what numbers they are. And I'm gonna take the horse and move it one spot forward. So if I roll the 10, the horse moves one spot. We have three leaving the gates from the right side, ladies and gentlemen. We have a team right here. Okay, we have a box dog right here, box dog. We have in the okay, we have another 4 here. We have another 4 here. Okay, right here.
No, Phil! Every time Phil's put one down. Let's go, 5! Let's go, 5!
We have a 6. Here we go. Let's catch up. We have a 9. 9. Let's catch up to 7. We have another 9 with a bonus of 2. Okay, we have 11.
Let's go, 11.
No more rats! No more rats! No more rats! Okay, 6.
Oh, no.
We're going to 3 catch up.
I didn't even put a token down.
They are such a fun group to play games with. I wish we had more time to just sit down and play games. But after that, we went straight into filming our intro. For our intro, I just had like an outline for it. Like Claire and Jackie, they kind of switched off between who was like the person checking me off for outlines and making sure like my timeline is good throughout the day. And I had a gist of what I wanted. And that was like having each creator introduce the next person. That way it's like a very, very seamless transition. And so I went to everyone and I was like, I think this would be really cool if we could do it all in one take. If not, it's not a big deal at all, but it would be awesome. And actually, we did end up doing one take, and we only tried twice. The first time we tried, I think it was like very hard to hear in that room because, like I said, it was super echoey. Probably think about for this very moment. I agree. That are totally gonna walk into frame right now. Right. Whenever they're ready. Yep. Yeah. They're totally gonna walk in. And you did know.
All the way from Canada.
All the way from Canada. Introducing.
I'm already.
Dude, look at this. So everyone couldn't hear their cues because where Sam and I were filming and everyone else was filming, when everyone else was like waiting far away, they couldn't hear because of how bad the echo was. So that's why I like looked off camera, like off the stage for a second, just to make like a face to like my team, which in turn they would then signal to like Jamie and Jeff was next right after us. They would signal to them and then they would come in and then everyone would kind of anticipate everyone else's movements. And as everyone's kind of introducing the next creator, that's when they walk in through the lights in the middle. And I thought it came out really, really fun. That was like one of my favorite parts of the whole video because it was coordinated so well and we only tried twice. One attempt first, we like scrapped the beginning, and then after that, everything just came super natural. So happens when you work with experienced content creators, you know that? Now from there, I think the rest of the day went super smooth despite us starting so late, but that's because like I didn't really know how my setup was and just getting all the technical stuff down. That took a while. That took like 3 to 4 hours. So we were like 2 hours behind schedule. But yeah, from there we went to Sam and then we got the main angle set up. We got the side angles. So 2 of us were handheld cameras on the side. We had also had 1 overhead camera. And those were our 4 cameras, just like how I said it would be in the initial plan. And it was pretty smooth from there. I think after Sam's, everyone had everything dialed down and it was pretty formulaic in a way, just to have a general idea, like we're going to do B-roll now, but it doesn't mean that everyone's B-roll was necessarily the same, but it's more so like, this is what's happening during the segment. It's B-roll time. It is mid-roll credits time. It's time to do the back angle shot or the over the shoulder shot. So like with that, like my entire team was like super synced up with that. I feel like we were a well-oiled machine by like the 3rd and 4th creator coming onto set. After that, half of us kind of split up and like did lunch, and the other half just kept going just because we were like 2 hours behind. And as like the main angle was being set up and everyone's like setting up their game, I would also go off to the side and do all of the portrait pictures that you might have seen across social media. That was really fun. My style in general for photography for people it's not dramatic at all. It's actually just like my lifestyle photos for board games. So I'm a very light and airy and kind of like, I like to go for timeless photos. So to go into like the dark and moody, that's definitely not something that I'm used to, but it was fun experimenting with that and just kind of going with the flow with how everyone is. I mean, everyone's honestly like a natural model as they are. I barely had to give any kind of direction whatsoever. So that was super easy to do for photos. And then as we wrapped up photos, everyone would be done with the setup, and then I just go back in to do the main angle, and we just continue the rest of the day from there. And then at the very end of this main video, what I thought would be like really nice would be to just for all of us to be back on camera again, just like in the intro, and just wrap up, give our thank yous to everybody, and to Rascalers, of course, for partnering with us with the table. And we kind of just went with it. I barely did any editing at all because I wanted to just be super raw and uncut, because that was just how we genuinely feel. We're just very thankful and very grateful for the opportunity to have something like that put together, you know? So that was very, very raw. That's why you see Nick spinning out of frame. That like clip, I cracked me up every time I was editing. Every time I edited, I just laughed. Every time Nick just like spun out of there. It's just, God, they're so freaking funny. These awards too, I just picked up a random one from the box. They're all like boxed up right now. This one is, oh, look at that. It's 1 Minute Board Games. Reina and Phil's award. This is to, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the video yet, again, make sure you see it. But this is presented to Turing Machine. So here's a closer look at the award. This is hand-blown glass. It is from a site that I use called Edco. I went through a couple iterations of this award in order to get it to this form. I felt like this was the best fit. There were a couple others in mind, but it was way, way too expensive to get. So instead, I went with this one, which is still really nice, like hand-blown glass and crystal cut. It's engraved with each person. It's really, really nice and very, very premium regardless. So I was really happy with how all these awards turned out. There are, of course, very, very slight differences between them because this is, of course, handmade, hand-blown. But I was really happy with how the quality of the awards turned out, and just wanted something that everyone would appreciate once they receive it, and all these companies receive, and all these publishers receive it. So I'm excited to be shipping them out today and on Monday, as soon as I get everyone's addresses. So yeah, hope all the publishers enjoy this Fire Nice Award for 2022. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the very end and some improvements that I want to make for next year. So at the very end, we were already very, very pushed for time. I think we had like 30 to 45 minutes left, and I felt like we could just film the table talk. So in turn, we had no time for the trailer. But I did mention in that one video, like I would be able to put something together, which I think I did. I put a couple of teasers together instead of just like one designated trailer. So I did put something together, but we did not have time to film a trailer. That's why I brought all these other games. This was for the B-roll. We didn't get to any of that. And that would 100% be something that I want to do for next year. I want to have a designated trailer with this one song that I've had in mind this entire year So I gotta fulfill that idea. It's like sitting in my head and it's not gonna leave until it's done. So I want to get this song out for that trailer for next year. I'm very, very confident that we're gonna do this for 2023 with the amount of people that really love this show. So that's good news. So we filmed a quick table talk, had everyone kind of just chime in on their favorite board game and just elaborated a little bit more about why they liked each game. And I also gave everyone a hard time because I don't know, it's just how I am. I like giving people a hard time. And then from there, we just like everyone kind of just went full on ham and super clean and super organized. So everyone like just pitched in, threw stuff in the car and the boxes and just tried to get everything done and out before we get charged an extra for staying extra at that venue. So that was really nice. And, you know, thank you to all the creators that helped out with that too. And that was pretty much the day. So some improvements that I want to do for next year, aside from like the light and the audio, I think for that table talk section specifically, now that I'm thinking about it, I really want this microphone setup along with like an arm or something, just the microphone specifically. I want this Shure SMB7 for every single creator. And I want them to have like, I want to have like 2 desks kind of arced in like a V shape, almost like a basketball interview panel, and everyone having their own mic. And we're kind of just like facing each other instead of like us in like behind like a rectangular table. I want us facing each other and everyone having their own beautiful voices into some really premium audio. That would be very, very nice to do. And we can also set that up beforehand. We could just have 2 tables set up, black linen on top, and then have these microphones for every single person. Maybe get some nice custom name tags made for everyone. That'd be really fun. I think the table talk would be elevated by a mile by doing just that. Secondly, my team loved filming this. And we were all talking about a bunch of different ideas. A couple of notable ones was we wanted to find a set where we can have different stations, specifically where they would be blocked off in like different rooms. I think that would be way more efficient and we were able to film more content and not lose on the quality either. Because for this venue specifically, like you see how dark and moody it is, right? Like I want that still in order for me to get that punchy kind of, I don't know, is it a signature by now to like hear like that song and like kind of relate it to my channel? You let me know if it is. But I don't know what words to describe it. I feel like punchy is the best word for it. Punchy, dramatic, moody. I like that look for making cinematic stuff because it gets people hyped and it gets me hyped editing stuff like that. So I want to keep that look for our intro and for our trailer. If there's a balance between like a lifestyle set and that dark and moody set and one for like a photo station, I think that would be the best thing ever. Like I would love to have people set up for doing the B-roll for like a game, just a game in general, so we get enough footage for the trailer, and then we have another room or station where it's everyone doing like photos for the game, so we can post more like posters and really fun stuff that we shot. And then a third station would be our main angle station. So this is where everyone's talking about their game. And I was also wondering too, I'm gonna ask like everyone about this later, but I was wondering if we should double up on the awards. Like instead of having a creator present the award separately, like for Turing Machine, have, you know, one person do Turing Machine and have another person do Turing Machine at the same time. I was wondering if it's better to have everyone who likes this game and who wants to give an award to this game present that game together, because then they get to have banter with each other, they get to explain the game together, and I think that would be really, really fun to see. Like as that interaction unfolds, I think it'd be super fun for creators to overlap in that sense. I like at the very bottom line, I would buy, you know, 1 minute board games and buy Tim Chuon or something at the very end. I think that would be fine instead of sending like 2 separate awards. But let me know what y'all think about that. Did you like the way we did it this year? Do you want to see creators overlap in that sense? Honestly, I'm happy with both. I think both are fine. And it wouldn't bother me either way, whichever way we end up choosing for next year. So yeah, those are some things that I want to fix for next year and a bunch of highlights about this year. I hope you enjoyed some behind the scenes footage that we got from Fire and Ice. Incredible, incredible event. And I just really cannot be any more happier with how it turned out. I'm on a high right now. I'm on a very, very good, motivated, ecstatic, excited high on what the production value ended up being, how everyone kind of just showed up, even though I literally told all these creators, like, I have an idea, and they're like, we're in. And I'm like, cool. This is my idea. That was pretty much all I told them, which was like really exciting to see them join in on this idea immediately as soon as I just said something as simple as that. So it's very heartwarming to hear stuff like that and that people believe in your stuff. So anyways, thank you all so much for bringing me to this point. This channel has grown a lot, and you know, I will do a designated 2022 wrap up video where I talk a lot more about the channel growth and where we're headed to in 2023. It's looking good. It's looking very, very good for 2023. I'm excited for all the content coming out, but that will be a whole nother video. And yeah, thanks for watching today's behind the scenes look at Fire and Ice, and I will see you all in the next one.